working on improving your handwriting. So let's get right to it. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to help you improve your handwriting. Now the first thing I want to tell you is that this is not a hand lettering or calligraphy video. This is a video on how to make your everyday handwriting a little neater. There are lots of hand lettering videos out there, but this video is more for your everyday handwriting or your handwriting in your planner as you're planning. Now, if your everyday handwriting is messy and you want to learn calligraphy, this could be your first step. Once you get your everyday handwriting down, then you can take the next step and do calligraphy or hand lettering. Before we get started, I'm going to ask you one question. Why do you want to improve your handwriting? Is it that your everyday handwriting is a mess and no one can read it? Or are you just looking to make your planner handwriting a little neater? Either answer is correct. You just need to know which one is right for you so that you know your goal going forward as you improve your handwriting. Tip number 1. You need to decide what you want your handwriting to look like. Maybe you have someone in mind and you want your handwriting to look similar to theirs. I absolutely adore Heidi Swapp's handwriting and I would love for my handwriting to look like that. Look what I found! I bought this book, I don't know, ages and ages ago. The elastic's all gone and it's all discolored, but I loved it and my handwriting looks better now because I did all the work in this book. Like, there are some of my practice sheets and there's even the pen still there. I worked really hard to get my handwriting to where I liked how it looked. I love her handwriting and I may tweak mine just a little bit now that I'm looking at this again. Another handwriting that I love is my son's school handwriting lessons. I love the little tail on the T. It's really simple but cute at the same time. So have a look on Pinterest or Instagram and find a handwriting that you want to sort of copy and make your own. You can also go onto font sites and search for handwritten fonts, and there you will find a bunch of other examples that you could use. And I'm going to talk more about that in just a second in tip number 2. Okay, so tip number 2 is practice, practice, practice. You can't expect your handwriting to improve unless you practice. If you start anything new, you're going to have to practice it before you get better at it. Musicians practice, elite athletes practice. If you want to get good at something, you need to practice. You write every day, so you have lots of opportunities to practice without having to sit there with sheets. Your to-do lists, your grocery lists, anytime you write any kind of note, instead of scratching it out really fast, take the time and use those lists as practice. Of course, it is also important that you make yourself some practice sheets and write them out. Now, these are from my son's school notebook. He's learning how to write this year, and so I photocopied a few extras so he could practice. These are probably a little big for adults, but what you can do is scale down the size so that you have the lines where you need to start and where you need to stop. Like, let's if I was to write T's, I would start at the top and I would come up and then I'd write the little thing there. And you know that your A's are in the bottom, B would go up here, a P would go down. I'm not even staggering the lines, but you get the idea. Now I'm coming back to fonts. Now I got this tip from another YouTuber and I will link her in the description below. Once you find a font online that you like, then you're going to type out the alphabet in small and in caps and then copy and paste it all down the page. And you can do it in bigger sizes or whatever size you want. Try to get it to about the size that you usually write in. And then what you're going to do is to take some tracing paper. If you don't have tracing paper, you can use regular paper and put it up against a window. But then depending on your pen, like if you're writing against a window, it doesn't really work. But try to get some sort of thinner paper. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to trace over all the letters and practice your writing. And you can use the same printout as many times as you want and just change your tracing paper. So that is a great way to make yourself some practice sheets. My next tip has to do with pens. There are so many different pens. I just took felt pens because those are my favorite. But what you need to do is experiment with any type of pen because your writing will look different with whatever pen you're using. My everyday writing when I'm doing my planner or any lists, I just love pencil. So I use pencil on a daily basis. This is my favorite pen. It's a Flair Papermate and it's a 0.7, I think. Then I have the Studytee, which are, I don't know what they are, but I'll get into the different types of pens in a second, but I just want to show you. These ones are great too. There's a 0.3 and a 0.8, so I'm going to talk about the differences of sizes. And this one is the same as this one, but it's a fine. And this one is like a super duper 0.1. Okay, just start writing with different pens. And the pens that you like, the ones you gravitate to, then you could start to develop better writing with those. So I'm just going to show you how each one of these write and how they're a bit different. Now I love this. It looks really cute. This is what I like. This is my favorite. This is the pen that I use most often. Then here's the fine version of this one. So different size pens will give you a different look. Now for me, well, because it's dry, it's a little bit messier, but also I don't like how fine it is. I don't have as much control, I find, which is odd, but I'm an oddball, so that's that's beside the point. So this is even smaller. So let's try this one. And this one looks a lot neater, actually. As you'll see, when you're using a finer pen, it's going to be smaller. You can see it's a whole centimeter shorter. There's also gel pens, ballpoint pens, just experiment and find pens that you like. This one, this is a 0.3. And this pen is the same, but it's a 0.8. And then let's do these. Well, this one's just the same, it's just a gray one. Now I took the gray because I wanted you to see that you don't have to write in black or blue. Also experiment with color. Which colors do you like better? Which ones look better in the book that you're using? Now this is not my absolute best writing. I went kind of fast. I'm a little bit nervous because I'm on camera, but my favorite right off the bat is this one, because I'm more comfortable with this pen because I use it all the time. So once you find a pen that you really like, practice with that one and your handwriting will improve because you're comfortable with the pen. Just to recap, tip number 3, experiment with different pens. Felt, gel, ballpoint, any kind of pen, fountain pen even, pencils. Experiment with different kind of pens to see which one works best for you. Experiment with color. Experiment with different size tips. And also, this is kind of leading into tip 4, but I'm just going to tell you one last thing about pen types. You can see that this one is a point, and it's like felt all the way around, right? I'm going to talk more about that in tip number 4, but I want you to see the difference between this one, which is basically a cylinder, and if I go to write on the side, not a lot comes out, because basically it's the shape of this, and this part is dry, and the ink mostly comes out of this. So that's another way you can experiment, and it leads me into tip number 4, which is experiment on how you hold your pen. So for this pen, I can hold it this way. Let's write a different word. And I can get ink. But this one, if I hold it this way, I don't get anything out of it because the side of the pen, the side of the tip, basically, is dry. So I have to hold this pen straight up and down. And it looks really nice, but I find that really uncomfortable to hold my pen like this all the time. It's okay once in a while, but if I'm making something really pretty and I want it to be really nice and I want to take my time and make it perfect, and I can do that with this one as well. And it comes out a lot neater than this actually. But if I'm doing my everyday writing and I want it to look nice without a lot of effort, then I can just use this one and hold it comfortably. I know I hold my pen funny, but I can hold it comfortably in my hand without having to hold it straight up and get cramps and all that crazy stuff. Let me now just show you how, for example, if I was to use my absolute best handwriting, I'm going to put it here so you can compare. And I'm going to hold it up straight and go nice and slow. Oh, I smudged it. I'm a lefty, of course, so I smudged it. So you can see, first of all, it's shorter, it's more compact, it's a lot neater, and it's a lot more controlled. But I really actually like this one just as much. Have fun with it. Experiment, hold your pen different ways. Maybe you're holding it a completely different way than me. If you're a lefty, maybe you have to turn your hand a bit, it might help. Just practice, but most importantly, have fun with it and practice, practice, practice. Now I'm going to show you my everyday writing just so you can see the difference between when I try hard. Like here, for example, these are my notes for this video, and it's sometimes it's so messy that I can't even make it out, but that's okay. Your everyday handwriting can be whatever you want it to be, and I know that if I slow down and take my time and use a pen that I really like, that my handwriting will look really neat. Let me know if you'd like me to do more handwriting videos. Now that I'm looking at that Heidi Swapp book again, I think I might want to practice mine, so I could do that in a new video if you like. Coming up next week, I have a video about turning your home into a vacation spot, spa, hotel, you name it. We're gonna have it in your home. Make sure you stay tuned for that. If you're new here, make sure that you are subscribed so that you don't miss a thing. Also hit that notification bell because then you'll know exactly when my next video comes out. If you can't wait till then, here are 2 more videos that I think you will like. You can subscribe here by clicking on my little face. Have a fantastic day and happy planning.